What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday to you. I see Tyler Lott out there already chiming in. What's up, Tyler? Salute to you, and peace to everybody that's out there in the virtual world. I hope that you're happy. I hope that you're having a good day. My aunties are here as usual. You guys are faithful. I love my aunties. My auntie Melissa, Auntie Millicent, good to see you. Man, my day is going well. Thanks for asking. Busy day today. As a matter of fact, we are in revival here at my church, New Congregational Missionary Baptist Church in the beautiful city of Los Angeles, California. We are in revival. It starts tonight and it runs tonight through Friday. And so I don't, normally I'm on for about an hour and 30 minutes, an hour to an hour and 30 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to be on here that long today. Now, tomorrow I'll be back on live with my brother, Pastor Keaton Brown, and we're going to be talking about John MacArthur. That conversation might take a while. But for today, I don't necessarily know how long I'm going to be on. However, I did feel compelled to have this conversation. But I digress. Welcome, everybody, to Black Church Chats. I am your host, Pastor Isaiah Robertson. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are well on our way to 1,000 subscribers. As you guys know, our goal is 1,000 subscribers by the end of the fall. And before I got on live, we were at 861 subscribers. So we need about 139 more subscribers to hit that 1,000 mark. And I want you to be one of those 139 if you have not yet subscribed. So please smash the subscribe button. Join our community. All right, let's dive right into it. I don't like to keep you guys long. I like to dive right into it. And so let's do it. Mental health, particularly Black mental health, because you guys know that my focus, my area of concern is the Black church. And today I want to talk about the Black church, having something to say about mental and emotional wellness. The Black church intentionally getting involved in the improvement of our individual and collective mental and emotional health. The Black church's role in addressing mental health. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. As a matter of fact, every second Sunday here at New Congregational Missionary Baptist Church, we have something called Jam Sunday. Jam, J-A-M. That's every second Sunday. The J stands for justice. The A stands for advocacy, and the M stands for mental health. So every second Sunday, we're gonna be talking about a specific justice item. There's a video that we create where we talk about a specific justice item. We've been talking a lot about reparative justice and reparations. We're also going to talk about an area where we are as a church involved in advocating for those that are marginalized, oppressed, for those that cannot advocate for themselves. So this year we launched an affordable housing campaign where we are advocating for housing justice. And so we give updates as it pertains to our progress addressing the affordable housing crisis here in Los Angeles. And then we have what's called a mental health moment, where we intentionally lean into topics like depression, topics like PTSD, topics like stress, topics like anxiety. We intentionally talk about, listen, mom number 2 is on, y'all. Myrtle Jones, that's my second mom, y'all. So y'all be particularly nice to Mom Myrtle, right? That's my second mom. But every second Sunday, we intentionally lean into conversations around mental health, and then couple that with the work that we do. Rick Barboa is here. Salute to Rick Barboa. Rochelle, Adam, and Alex are here. Are y'all? Rochelle, Adam, and Alex are here. I don't see y'all, but what's up to y'all if y'all are? Love y'all. So that's what we do intentionally. Why? Because I believe in the importance of mental health and mental wellness. And I also believe, y'all, I also believe that there's a biblical mandate behind this. And y'all tell me if you feel like I'm stretching this, okay? Y'all tell me if you feel like I am misapplying this text. But it's Matthew 22:37. Matthew 22:37. And these are Jesus's words now. Jesus's words. He says, love the Lord your God with what? All your heart, all your soul, and with all your mind. With all your mind. With all your mind. So I think there are two implications of what Jesus says here. We are loving God with the mind when we are intentionally engaging in intellectual pursuits for the purpose of knowing God more, knowing his word more, knowing him more. And so we are loving God with our minds when we are thinking our thoughts after him, when we are when we are seeking to expand our intellectual capacities for his glory and our own good. So I think that's one implication of what Jesus says. I think the second implication of what Jesus says is, how are we maintaining our minds to ensure that they are healthy, to ensure that they are sound, right? God hasn't given us what? A spirit of fear, but power, love, and what? A sound mind. I think as we intentionally remove mental clutter, as we intentionally seek to be mentally healthy, we are putting ourselves in a position to be better disciples. We are putting ourselves in a position to be what? Sober minded. And my brother Rick Barboa agrees. He says, in an applicatory sense, that is not a stretch. Yeah, and I'm specifically dealing with the implications of what Jesus is saying here. So thank you, Rick. By the way, subscribe to Rick. Go check him out on TikTok as well. Rick is a phenomenal guy. I'm gonna get you back on the show, Rick, because you are just that brilliant. But it's not a stretch to say that Jesus' words in Matthew 22:37 have implications as it pertains to our mental health. And this has been an issue since we, Black people, descendants of those that were brought here through the transatlantic slave trade. This has been an issue since we arrived on this continent. Yes, even before that, I get you, but I'm telling you, it increased exponentially once we became chattel. And once we left the shores of West Africa and entered into the belly of the beast. Paul Laurence Dunbar, late 19th century poet, one of his poetry precursor to the amazing Harlem Renaissance. All of the Harlem Renaissance artists and poets, they loved Paul Laurence Dunbar. He wrote a poem, and I want to read this poem in your hearing. He wrote a poem entitled "We Wear the Mask." And I think this poem captures for us the crisis, captures for us the dilemma, captures for us the urgency that we have to place around this issue. And again, he wrote this way back in the late 19th century, Paul Laurence Dunbar. Listen to this. This is what he said in this poem entitled "We Wear the Mask." He writes, "We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts, we smile and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be over wise in counting all our tears and sighs. Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh, great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask. Y'all, the first time I read this poem, I cried. I'm actually on the verge of crying right now because this, I think this poem encapsulates the dilemma, even for those of us who name the name of Christ and who are Christian. This poem, I think, captures the reality of our collective existence. Remember, W.E. Du Bois coined this term, double consciousness. Double consciousness. W.B. Du Bois wrote one of my favorite books of all time, Souls of Black Folks, and he brings out this idea of double consciousness, where we as Black people, we are forced to navigate this existence with two consciousnesses. What's the plural of consciousness? Is it consciousnesses? That sounds like too many sisses. Okay, I don't know. Y'all know what I'm saying, right? So there's the consciousness that allows us to navigate within African American circles, within African American communities. Okay, with our people, right? We are home with our people, right? But then there's also this other consciousness that we have to adopt in order to matriculate through this society, majority culture. So we have to think with two minds. We have to almost have two personalities, two consciousnesses. I think that's the correct grammar. I don't know. Y'all can correct me in the chat, in the comment section. And this poem, I think is the forerunner to that phrase, because Paul Lawrence Dunbar talks about wearing the mask. Pastor David Collins, good to see you, man. Love you so much, man. One of the founding members here at Black Church Chats. We wear the mask that grins and lies. So what is that opening statement but an affirmation of the idea of double consciousness, right? And I think the reason why this poem is so apropos for believers in Christ, because toward the end of the poem, he goes on to say, we smile, but oh, great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet and long the mile. So what is that? So that's bringing out the reality that even as believers in Jesus, even as we are crying out to Jesus, even as we are seeking God's face, seeking to know him more, we are crying and we possess tortured souls. Now, is that somehow unchristian to acknowledge that that's how some of us exist? I know that like superficial 21st century cosmetic Christianity teaches us that if we say anything but I'm too blessed to be stressed, or we say anything but I'm too anointed to be disappointed, then somehow we're not as spiritual as we need to be. Somehow we are not connected to the joy of Christ. But man, when I read the Bible and I'm introduced to the psalmist, David in the Psalms, I'm introduced to Elijah in the cave of Adullam. I'm introduced to Job. Even Jesus wept, right? I realize that what Paul Lawrence Dunbar is saying here near the end of this poem about smiling and singing to Christ and crying to Christ through tortured souls is real. Is real. Let me give y'all some statistics. Some statistics. Black adults are 20% more likely to report serious psychological distress compared to white adults. 19.7% of Black and African American adults have experienced a mental health condition within the past year. Black young adults age 18 to 25 have the highest prevalence of any mental health condition compared to other races. Approximately 21% of Black and African Americans report experiencing a mental illness within the past year. And this particular stat line I'm about to read is particularly concerning, and I'll tell you why. Only 5% of the U.S. psychology workforce is Black or African American. Only 5%. Why is that an issue? There's a lot to be said. Excuse me, y'all. There's a lot to be said about cultural competence. There's a lot to be said about sitting across from somebody that can identify with you. There's a lot to be said about being treated by somebody that can nod their head and say, yeah, I got you. I understand. And so if only 5% of the U.S. psychology workforce is Black or African American, then this conversation takes another twist and turn, because if you hear me talking and you're like, yeah, I need to do something about my mental health, my emotional well-being, and then you seek out help, that still might not solve the issue. As a matter of fact, you may sit down with somebody that exacerbates the issue rather than solves it. Now, this is not a call for Black people to only go to Black therapists. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I think we can all agree that cultural competence is important, and that sitting across from somebody that can identify with you is important. And having somebody that serves you, that helps you, that speaks your language, understands your experience is meaningful, which is where the Black church comes in. After reading those statistics, after acknowledging that we have a history within our communities of mental challenges, mental illnesses, and then after reading that only 5% of the U.S. psychology workforce is Black or African American, pastors, we should be asking, what can we do? How do we fill this gap? And in asking that question, my cousin just popped in. Hey, my cousin. Hey, my cousin. Hey, my cousin. This is my cousin, y'all. Chachi. This is my cousin. And she says, good afternoon, cousin. Wonderful topics. Since having brain surgery and suffering severe PTSD, having a mental health advocate has really helped me. And see, look, I love this. I love these personal testimonies. This is it, y'all. See, look at this. Look at this. What you're doing, cousin, is you are helping to remove stigmas and make people feel more comfortable to address their mental health issues. Thank you, cousin. So we pastors, we should be saying, what can we do? What can our churches do? How can we address these issues and help to bring mental health and wellness to our members? Well, this is what I want to say. If you're asking that question, then you are right in the vein of the legacy and the witness of the Black church tradition. My brother Damon Richardson is here. My brother Damon Richardson is here. We have to stop spiritualizing it first and foremost. Look at that. Look at that. As a matter of fact, subscribe, y'all. Y'all subscribe to Damon at Urban Logia. If you haven't subscribed to Damon, you are doing yourself a disservice. You're absolutely right. And to your point, Damon, to your point, y'all, we really need to think about how these quote unquote deliverance ministries are contributing to the mental health challenges we find ourselves in. Because if everything is just a demon to be casted out, then why do I need to take medicine? Why do I need to seek help? If depression is demonic and all you need to do is come up to this altar and throw up, then that's how I'm going to treat my depression. So I think that what Damon says here is extremely important. We do need to stop spiritualizing it first and foremost. Marcus says, just getting here, mental health care has to be proactive, and believing that everything mental health is always a spiritual issue is problematic. So look, out of the mouth of two witnesses, y'all. So we're getting practical now. We have to stop over spiritualizing what could be clinical. Listen, one of my favorite preachers and theologians, C.H. Spurgeon, 19th century preacher, theologian, amazing orator. He struggled throughout his life with deep bouts of depression. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite, do I have it here? Yeah. The cover is long gone off of this, but this right here, lectures to my students. Life-changing, game-changing. If you don't have this, if you're a preacher, you don't have this, you got to get this. But in talking to his students, Spurgeon outlines and discusses his own mental health challenges. And so I absolutely think we need to acknowledge that some mental health challenges are not demonic. They are real and they need to be treated. But I digress. Remember what I said. If you're a Black pastor of a Black church, and you're saying we got to do something, right? We got to address this. You are right in the vein of the Black church tradition, the legacy, the witness of the Black church, and you are connected with sentiments from previous eras. I almost said bygone sentiments. I do think in some ways, as it pertains to mental health and mental wellness, the Black church has detached itself from this historical witness that I'm about to share with you. Now, there are outliers out there, but I think by and large, the mega church movement, the evangelicalism as a commodity has trickled into the Black church, and it's moved us away from really leaning into these real life day-to-day existential issues our people deal with. I think we have fallen victim to the church growth movement. I think that we have succumbed to um, the industrialization of evangelicalism, and as a result, what essentially is pastoral care and congregational care has fallen by the wayside. But I do think that it's not too late to reconnect and to prove to you that addressing mental health, talking about mental health, leaning into issues of mental health, to prove to you that all of this is a part of the Black church tradition, the legacy of the Black church. I'm going to share with you some primary sources. Can I do that? By the way, super chats are open, y'all. You guys are welcome to bless the channel with some super chats. And if you're listening, y'all, we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers. When before I started this broadcast, we were at 861, which means we need roughly 139 subscribers. The goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the fall. It's possible. There's potentially we can do this before the end of the summer, y'all. If y'all engage and y'all click that subscribe button. But let me give you some primary sources. What I'm about to read to you is from a formerly enslaved man named Peter Randolph. And he discussed a description of the activities that occurred in a secret worship service attended by enslaved people. And he also recorded the general mood felt by the worshipers at the culmination of the meeting. Okay. So this is an example of how these worship services carried on in the invisible institution in the antebellum South. So here's his recollection. He says they first ask each other how they feel, the state of their minds, then praying and singing all around until they generally feel happy. The slave forgets all his sufferings, except to remind others of the trials during the past week, exclaiming, "Thank God, I shall not live here always." Then they pass from one to another, shaking hands and bidding each other farewell. As they separate, they sing a parting hymn of praise. Michelle Turner is in the building, one of the greatest mods ever to mod. Love you, dear sister. So do you hear this? Do you hear this account from Peter Randolph, formerly enslaved person, about the worship service and the invisible institution? First, they ask one another how they feel, the state of their mind. So there's this like intuitive understanding. Like, before we kick this thing off, we have to be thinking about psychological repair. We have to seek to diagnose and assess the mental well-being of those in attendance. Have you ever wondered how our enslaved ancestors made it through the long, dark night of slavery? Tyler Lott. Y'all, if there was no invisible institution, and if they didn't have worship, and if during worship they did not proactively try to bring about psychological repair within the community, I'm sure They would have been decimated. Group therapy. I think Tyler Lott hits it on the head. These weren't just worship services. It was group therapy, intentional group therapy. Book called Black Church Studies. Number of contributors. They talk about what they call nurturing practices. And within this book, Black Church Studies and Introduction, this is what they say. The worshiping community engages in key nurturing practices. These practices include laying before God the tough burdens of life, concerns, and desires for the present and future, expressing deep emotion and lament connected with personal and communal plight and possibility, and reframing and affirming a positive Black identity that counters the negative one found in larger society. Or to use Homer Ashby's words, they affirm one another in the belief that they are indeed a part of God's good creation. Whatever the world may say Monday through Saturday, the church delivers God's good news that Black people are a people of worth and value. They are talking about what they call nurturing practices within gathered worship. Intentional nurturing practice. I call it psychological repair. Why do I call it psychological repair? They alluded to it. Monday through Saturday, hellhounds are barking. Yeah, I went back to the 18th century on y'all with the hellhounds reference. Hellhounds are barking. Monday through Saturday, the boss is crazy. Monday through Saturday, the bills pile up. Monday through Saturday, white supremacy. Monday through Saturday, racism. Monday through Saturday, double consciousness. Monday through Saturday, marginalization. Monday through Saturday, looking around and saying that white Christian nationalism is on the rise. Monday through Saturday. And then Sunday rolls around. And what did Daryl Coley say about when Sunday comes? But there has to be an intentional push to help bring about psychological repair as much as possible within the gathered community. Which is why, and I'm just going to say this as a side note, y'all, which is why I am not with the 75 minutes or less church service crowd. Now. Church service ain't got to last all day. I get it. I'm also not with the 4-hour church service crowd. But I'm certainly not with the 75 minutes or less church service crowd. Why? Is that really enough time? Maybe for some people, yes, but we're talking about a community. We're talking about a gathered, collective group of people. 75 minutes, 60 minutes after I am in the belly of the beast every single day. Y'all, that's my cell phone. I'll get it when I'm done. All right. And all you're going to give me is 60 to 75 minutes. I think that's one of the ways that the church growth movement, white evangelicalism, has done violence upon the Black church. Is, make us think that 60 to 75 minutes is sufficient. And let me digress, because I don't want to be nasty. If you're a pastor of a church and you've implemented 60, 75 minutes, I'm not saying that you're bad or wrong. For New Congregational Missionary Baptist Church, we're focused on worshiping God and psychological repair. We want people to cry out to God, and we want people to just cry. One of my members here, Sister Cynthia, she says, kudos to my church. She's one of my members. She says, New Congregational Missionary Baptist Church, for making mental wellness a part of our monthly gatherings. Last Sunday, my church shared an amazing and helpful video by a Dr. Nicole Kamak. See, what I told you guys, every second Sunday, we do Jam Sunday, justice, advocacy, mental health, and we lean into these conversations. And let me tell you honestly, at first, people kind of hesitant. What does this have to do with anything? Why are we talking about this? Why are you playing these weird, interesting clips? I think now it's gotten to the point where if I don't do Jam Sunday on second Sunday, I think people will have an issue here in New Congregational Missionary Baptist Church. But it is intentional. It is intentional because we care about bodies and souls. And I often say to my people that mental health is a discipleship issue because of what Jesus says in Matthew 22:37. So, and here's where I want to invite y'all into this conversation. Here's where I want to invite y'all into this conversation. What are some practical ways Black churches can lean into this conversation? What are some things that we can do to ensure that we are addressing Black mental health and working to improve Black mental health? Pastor Damon has already said we have to stop over spiritualizing stuff. 100%. I've already given you a recommendation, suggestion. One Sunday out of the month, we lean into a mental health conversation. Send the link. What link, Damon? What link do you? Oh, you want to come on? Oh, my bad. Okay. Y'all, I'm gonna bring my brother on. I'm gonna bring Damon on. Hold on one second, Damon. Let me send the link. I'm about to send it to you right now. Damon is like, let me in. Okay. Y'all, I'm kind of slow, Damon. You gotta work with me a little bit. Okay. All right. One second. I did see you say send the link before. I didn't know what. I thought you were just talking to somebody in chat. I didn't know you were talking to me. I'm sending the link right now. Damon, I'm sending it on Facebook to you. Okay. Was that you calling me, Damon? That might have been you calling me like, bro, send the link. Okay. I just sent the link. My brother Damon is coming in. Damon, you should have it now. It's on Facebook. All right. The Bible says to worship in spirit and in truth. How can one do that if our mind is so cluttered with mental health issues? That is absolutely right. The in spirit part is exactly about that. That has to do with how we're feeling. That has to do with our thoughts. That has to do with our disposition. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We're gonna wait for Damon to come on in. And y'all, I said I probably wasn't gonna be on here long because we do have revival tonight, but I might have to retract that because Damon gonna come in and Damon gonna drop some jewels and nuggets. By the way, while we're waiting for Damon, have you subscribed yet? What's that? What's that I hear? No, you haven't. You haven't subscribed. What? Well, it's free, right? All you gotta do is hit that subscribe button. Okay, we're trying to get to at least 1,000 subscribers by the end of the fall. We're at 861 now at the latest count. We want you to be a part of the 139 subscribers yet to come. So please, my brother, please, my sister, subscribe now. All right, Damon, did you get the link? We waiting on Damon. We waiting on Damon, y'all. Let me make sure he got it. Okay. Did I send it? Yeah, he got the link. Okay, so we just waiting on Damon, y'all. 1,000 subs is where we're going. 1,000 subs is where we're going. Listen, while we're waiting on Damon, I'm wondering if I should let y'all know this now. Yeah, me and Damon together, right? Our last conversation broke YouTube, and I'm still I'm still getting tons of DMs about our last conversation about one. Oh, Damon's here, y'all. Let me bring Damon up. Let me bring Damon up. Everybody, your favorite apologist, my favorite apologist, Pastor Damon Richardson is on with us now. Damon, I can't hear you.
All right, what about now?
There you go. There you go. I got you, man.
Give me just a second here. Hold on.
Okay. All right. So while we're waiting on Damon, I have a pretty big YouTube has been asking me to create like this members only platform. I haven't done that because I'm like, I don't even have 1,000 members yet. I mean, I don't even have 1,000 subscribers yet. So I don't know, but there's a big announcement that I do want to make. I don't know if I'll make it now, but there is a big announcement I want to make. Marcus Batson, sinful habits cultivate mental illness. Many issues are related to unhealthy and unrighteous ways that people cope with problems and pain. What's up, Damon?
All right, man. Doing good, man. I got about a good 20-25 minutes. So cool. I said, this is a great topic, one that's not explored enough. And I'm really glad, really happy to see you covering it, especially within the context of the Black church. And, man, this is really important. And you'll hear people give lip service to it here and there, and maybe a post or two or say something, but never really deep conversation, one that explores what our relationship should be to mental health issues, what our responsibility is as Christians, as the church, and and what that looks like, right? So we very rarely talk about that. We're pretty. I think we're faster on the draw to just call something, mental illness or something, or label something as toxic, and then we try to use pop psychology terms. We're really good at stuff like that, but when it comes down to actually doing the work of what it takes to really address these kinds of issues, we go silent, we go dark, and so it's really good to see you having this conversation.
100%. Help us, man. Help us. What? Look, the floor is yours, Doc. What do we need to understand?
Oh man, well, one of the things you addressed already. I think if we start looking at what some of the where some of the issues are, one of the issues you pointed it out is we talked about spiritualizing, kind of spiritualizing the issue. That definitely harms. That definitely harms the way that we see and understand mental health issues. I'm looking for. I'm sorry. I'm looking for a post that I did. I'll pull it up here in just a second. Here it is. This was a post that I did a few years ago, about 6 years ago here, and I talked about depression and even suicide. And it's interesting. A conversation came up last night that we talked about things like suicide, and but in this post, I mentioned. I'll just read it if you don't mind. It's short. I said, here's a few thoughts on pastors and Christians dealing with depression and suicide. And these are, mental health concerns. I said, professionally, pastoring can be stressful and may at times lead to bouts of onset and long-term discouragement, sometimes even depressive feelings, not necessarily depression. I said, there's no one-to-one correlation between pastoring and mental health diseases like depression. Therefore, it's not that pastoring causes depression itself, but that persons who pastor may become depressed no differently than the mail carrier, the doctor, the comedian, the psychologist, the restaurant owner, and the athlete for reasons unrelated to their occupation. I said, intervention doesn't always lead to prevention of suicide. Often it leads to delay. And I mentioned Pastor Jarrett Wilson, who committed suicide, was a mental health advocate. He had spoken to many professionals and most certainly ministry leaders about his personal battles with depression and still committed suicide. Um, I said churches can help. Here's the takeaway part, the action. Churches can help by discussing it openly and creating awareness through healthy, informed, and balanced conversation, like we're having here tonight. Churches can also hurt by one, spreading and teaching misinformation, such as depression is a spirit, right? I cast out that spirit of depression. I cast out, or even misdiagnosis. We're quick to call something a demon, right? And then there is even overdiagnosis, right? Not just miss, but over. It's when we think somebody's got some gift of the spirit, but they're really cuckoo for cocoa puffs, right? Like the lady who's been to hell 6 times. Those are not spiritual experiences, and not gifts of the spirit. That's I'd say that could be a combination of one of three things. A bad drug trips, right? It could be mental illness, and I'm almost certain it is, and it could involve some demonic activity as well, right? But the reality is that we've got to be more adept at recognizing what is mental illness and not over spiritualizing it, under spiritualizing it, or what have you. I also mentioned, I said, recognizing depression when it affects clergy, and failing to recognize it among congregants. Another one is in terms of ways that churches can hurt. A third one is thinking that Christians aren't supposed to be depressed because they have the Holy Spirit indwelling them. Right? That these are ways in which people get essentially silently bullied into, I should say, bullied into silence, because they know that the surrounding culture sees it as some sort of spiritual issue. Like they may think that, well, you did something, kind of like your retribution kind of theology. If
Yeah.
bad things happen to you, you did something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so sometimes people suffer in silence because they're afraid of what the community around them may think caused it, brought it on, right?
Yeah.
And so certainly you have people who think like, well, if you're a Christian, you're not supposed to, if you're walking with the Lord, you're not supposed to ever be, Interestingly, in this post, I share that for over 30 years that I battled major depression, and it's not like it's gone, like it's not like I'm healed. I just have found more effective ways to cope with it, right? So I don't, how can I put it? I don't suffer as much as I used to in the past. Like many years ago, there were times when I would um, hide away for days at a time, 5, 6, 7 days at a time. And, just, it was just really bad, really bad periods of time in my life. But that's what prompted this. And I also mentioned, I said, assuming the issue is sin or spiritually caused, that goes back into what I was just saying here, rather than understanding depression as a mental or psychiatric disorder and treating it as a mere matter of prayer and counseling, right? So when we have a more robust theology of suffering, we'll understand that mental illness and mental suffering is, while it may be different in terms of experience, we've got to treat it the same way that we would think of people who are physically suffering, right? We don't,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's suffering, right? And being a Christian doesn't exempt you from that, right?
Yeah.
And so we don't just like we don't put band-aids on broken arms, and or we don't just throw iodine on a gaping wound. We can't just throw prayer and counseling on people who are dealing with mental illness. They need help, right? And
Yeah.
I mentioned this. I said depression is a disease that Like some physical illnesses, some people get healed from and others die from. Treatment does not equal cure. Suicide is, and I, I get in to talking about some things dealing with suicide as well, in terms of how we've dealt with that. But the main thing is that we're talking about different forms of mental illness, and so this is really important because we have it. It's among us, and in the Black church is an extension of the Black family. And one thing I know about Black families is that we get really embarrassed about things and we're very secretive, right? So secrecy harms us, right? So just think about all the people in our society from Black families who were harmed because everybody knew Uncle Joe was a pedophile, but nobody wanted to say it. Or something of the matter, right? Well, in the same way, when we're too embarrassed to, let's just say, a sister in the church is dealing with onset dementia or something like that, and this has been just a prayer warrior kind of sister or whatever, and now she's using profanity. And saying all kinds of vile things. And you're like, Sister Jackson, hold on, right? Sister Jackson, her brain is not working.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right. This is not a spiritual issue for Sister Jackson. It's just that, we don't need to be embarrassed by these kind of things. We need to know how to, and I'm not saying that pastors need to be mental health counselors. What I'm saying is that churches ought to have people in their churches who are just like we think about necessary. They were saying during COVID, what were they calling it? Necessary folk who needed to go to work.
Essential workers.
Essential workers. We've got to have some essential workers in church.
Yeah.
People who understand and have experience and practice in mental health. They need to be staffed. They're essential workers in our church, right? And so that we are not harming, but we are helping. We're a caring community, and so we need to make sure that we have people who can care in a number of different ways, not just the spiritual ways. So just wanted to throw that out there, man.
You're helping us, man. You said something that kind of really stuck out to me. A poor theology of suffering can exacerbate and worsen mental health challenges.
Absolutely.
And so where there is an unbiblical theology of suffering, the potential for mental unwellness is intensified.
Yeah, man.
That Doc, I'm gonna do a show on that, man. I'm gonna do a show on the Black church and the theology and theology of suffering, because I think that's a problem too, Doc. Is that when it comes, we are far too shallow when it comes to our conversing about, preaching about, and even thinking about suffering. And I think we need to address that. Number two, you said something so good. I mean, I need to know as a pastor when a counseling case is above my pay grade. All right.
Right.
And I need to be able to outsource that to somebody that is trained, credentialed, and qualified to step in and help, because I could potentially make things worse by tinkering with situations that I'm just not equipped and qualified to tinker with. And so
man. Pouring prayer oil.
Right.
Big old bottle of Pompeii, olive oil there. That's not going to get rid of it.
Right. Or even in counseling sessions, you got somebody that has a real severe mental health issue, and you using platitudes and cliches, and you know what I mean? Like,
The Lord will see you through. You know,
Yeah, right,
hold to
right.
His hand.
Right, right. That's problematic. And even for smaller churches that may not be able to bring mental health professionals on board, or you may not even have any mental health professionals as members, you still need to have, look, I'm about to take it back to 1982, in your Rolodex. Anybody have a Rolodex anymore?
There you
Nobody
go.
has a Rolodex. You still need to have in your Rolodex at least 3 vetted, believing mental health professionals that you can outsource your hardest cases to. And so even like you know, I don't no excuses, right?
Yeah.
I don't have a big church, I don't have the income. Well, you can have some people in your Rolodex that
Right.
you are referring people to.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
Doc, you're gonna have to come back on me, man, and so we can talk
Yeah.
about this
Yeah.
theology of suffering, Doc.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking sometime in September, man. We circle back around and we talk about this psychology of suffering. I mean, the theology of suffering.
Good deal.
Any
Excellent.
questions out there, y'all? Because Damon, it actually works out because I have to go too. We're in revival this week. Our revival starts tonight, summer revival, so that's at 7. So I need to start preparing now. But are there any questions from anybody out there on this topic? Again, like, share, subscribe if you haven't done that. Also hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever we go live. One of my deacons, Deacon Marcus Champion, I don't know if you're still there, Deacon Marcus Champion said this: encourage congregants to inquire if their healthcare offers access to therapists. If they do, usually it just costs a copay. From there, interview folks until you find the one that fits you. Thank you, Deacon
Mhm.
Marcus Champion. Listen, you guys are seeing members of New Congregational Missionary Baptist Church chime into this conversation because we have normalized this conversation at our church. This is something that we lean into intentionally. And so the members of New Congregational Missionary Baptist Church are conversant
Yeah.
in this, around
Yeah.
this issue. So,
Yeah. And
so
I think, one way to help is that we ought to think about mental health, not necessarily just mental illnesses, but mental health
mhm.
as something that is um, our responsibility in the same way that our physical health is, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
um, you would think, you would think like nothing in your mind would ever think differently than this. You're like, Damon's health is 100% up to him,
mhm,
right? How he eats, whether he gets enough sleep, you like in your mind it's a foregone conclusion, right?
mhm.
Well, I think the same thing about your mental health.
Yeah,
It's up to you, right?
yeah,
So in that way, we ought not to be thinking reactively, but proactively.
yeah,
Like, it was so that things don't necessarily develop to the point of illness. So
yeah,
mental health is about how we are maintaining and sustaining health practices, right? So for physical health, well, what do we think? We think about how we eat. We think about the things that we do to proactively become and to maintain a certain lifestyle of health. Well, we've got to think about, well, what does that look like proactively? So then that way we've got a community of generally healthy people mentally. Right now, there are some people who will be mentally ill in various ways, and and of course, this conversation's a part of that too. But that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is the health piece. Is that what are we doing to proactively, right? So I like what Pastor Isaiah mentioned. Is many of our brothers and sisters who were enslaved, they practiced lament, and so lament gave them the emotional and the mental kind of resources to deal with the night, right? So they were proactively doing that. They weren't waiting until they were completely broken to do that, right? So lament has the language of not only frustration, it has the language of protest. It has the language of grief. It has the language of, right, and it's all centered and anchored in faith. That's the thing, right? And so um, proactively, if we I'll say this. This is what I think. This is a way that the Black church can really help. Now, I am all for celebration.
Yeah.
You can look at some of my preaching books up here,
Yeah.
doctrines that dance, and,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
power in the pulpit, and
Yeah.
all this stuff. I'm all for celebration in preaching, right? But I think that the Black church's overemphasis on celebration has robbed us
Mm,
of the benefits of lament,
mm,
and so that we don't even feel like we are spiritual, or
mm.
that God's done anything in the service
Unless we,
until it ends on a crescendo,
yeah,
until we've got people shouting and praising and this, that, or the other.
the
Right.
frenzy.
So yeah. They, man, so and so dumped the house.
Yeah.
Celebration is wonderful. But if we think about, for instance, the Psalms, and we look at all the genres in the Psalms, the largest two genres in the Psalms are going to be praise and lament. Let me ask you this question. Which of those two do you think the Psalms is given to the most? It's not even praise, it's lament. Lament is the largest genre. That shows you how important it actually is to our spiritual well-being, right? What do you normally hear Black preachers say? Praise your way out of it. Praise your way. And what I'm saying is, praise is not some prosperity kind of formula to get God to change his mind. See, lament is not attempting to box God and negotiate a desirable outcome. Lament is faithfully navigating your experiences, dealing with them while you're walking with God, right? So it's not necessarily concerned with when it's going to be over. It's learning how to walk with God through the night. David said, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with me." So lament is how do we walk with God? How do we understand God through the valley of the shadow of death? Right. It's the things we say to Him. It's becoming self-aware of how we feel. Right. Becoming theologically aware of what we believe in the most crucial and critical times. We need to equip believers more for that. And celebration, while it is good, can set people up for failure. Because just because you shout it in church Sunday don't mean that, I don't care what the preacher said. You're coming out. You're coming out. He's turning it around. No, he ain't. Like, your shouting is, I don't care what the so-called praiseologist folk are telling you.
Doc.
Nothing you throw up to God in the service, I don't care how hard you shout, that is not going to turn your midnight into day. I don't care what gospel song you listen to. Right? We need a robust theology, not only of suffering, but also of lament. We have to balance it out. And again, the Black church's overemphasis on the celebratory piece, I think, robs believers of the spiritual development that can really equip them to proactively be mentally healthy. Is my point. I'm done.
Doc, you are so right. As a matter of fact, man, I love it when my members are chiming in, Doc. I love to see my members on the podcast. Sister Cynthia Colvin, she's one of our members. She says Pastor Richardson is so on point. Thank you, Pastor, for linking him in. Listen, all of my memory. Y'all know how I am. Y'all know that I don't just refer people. Y'all know that I just don't bring people up. I don't expose y'all to people. This man right here will change your life. The Lord is using this man. Please subscribe to Damon's channel. You're absolutely right, Sister Cynthia. He is on point. This is my Myrtle. My Myrtle is my second mom. and one of our best church mothers. She said at our church, New Congregational Missionary Baptist Church, we have a Christian greeting every Sunday. This gives opportunities to hug, check on each other, and affirm our faith with each other. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Good.
Look at them. Look at them advertising. Look at them advertising. Yeah. Doc, we're gonna circle back around, and we're gonna do a part 2 on the theology of suffering and lament in the Black church.
Yes,
all
good.
Right? So y'all need to look out for that and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified. But Doc, I appreciate you, man. I love you. I love you as always. Too, Yep. All right, y'all. Hey, stick around for a second, audience, and check out the upcoming broadcasts, the upcoming streams we'll have here. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'll be back on live with my friend and brother, Pastor Keaton Brown. We're talking about the legacy of John MacArthur. Yeah, we going. Right. Yeah, we talk about. We going. Yep. Yep.
All right.
So join us tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We appreciate y'all. Check out the other streams that we have coming up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. All right, y'all. Peace out.
Blessings.